gonna start moving things out of my bedroom now, so when the guys come with the new window frame, they emailed us and said that they'll need about 3 feet of space between the wall and just like floor space. I think a lot of things in my room right now will need to get moved out, but the only issue is that the windows in the living room are getting replaced at the same time as well. So a lot of the stuff over there will have to get moved into a corner. So everything is basically going to be sharing one corner of our apartment. And to make matters even worse, it's going to be over several days. So it needs to make sense where, you know, we can still use the space and not have things in the way, but then also, you know, it's just gonna look a mess for a while. This will be the third time I'm making over my bedroom. So there was one layout where when we first moved in, that's how I sort of set everything up. But then I switched it around, which there's a couple of videos out on my channel of that redesign. So that has been sort of the layout I've been working with up until now, where I just have a feeling to, you know, do something different and just switch it up. A lot of this is me just kind of like playing around with what I already have here and seeing how I can give a refresh without having to, you know, start from scratch. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to see like what this new layout is gonna bring, and if, you know, it shifts the energy in here and gives me sort of an environment to be even more creative. I don't think this is gonna be done in one day. Obviously the window itself is not gonna be finished in one day. It is the start of it. You know, I'm not an interior designer by any means. A lot of this stuff I am self-teaching and just like pulling inspiration from other places. This is all just a huge new thing that I'm kind of like dipping into. If it ends up working out, then great. I will check in with you guys a little later on. Hey guys, so I am jumping in right now with my iPhone and really terrible lighting because I had to take the lights out of the way to continue to move the stuff out. I got maybe just like one corner done and it's kind of late at night, so I'm gonna try to rush through this. I sort of wanted to just show what that corner is looking like, and I think this side of the room is the side that I want to do the most change to. So let me just share with you guys what I have planned. This wall right here that has been covered with curtains. One of the things that I have planned and want to try to vision out is that I would take the curtains and only frame them around where the actual window is instead of having them across the whole wall. And then in this corner here, I would take the cube shelf, put it up vertically so that it covers more space this way. Then it kind of leaves all of this area right here empty. And then the idea is that for this bookshelf here is gonna go on the other side. The bed would end up being pushed over a little bit more centered to the room. And then I still don't have an exact plan for this shelf right here and the dresser. So right now that is the working idea that I have, since again, it's gonna take a couple of days for them to finish the windows. So I won't be able to move everything back immediately after they put the frame in. There's still a couple more steps that they need to do to finish the windows. So I'm gonna beat through this a little bit, go to bed, wake up in the morning, and then once the people start coming in to bring in the frame, I'll move anything else that's like, you know, small or something out of their way, just so that like it's not everything that I'm moving all at once. things are looking a little bit crazy in here. So they were supposed to come in to change out the windows. They had to push back the date a little bit, and it fell on a Friday, so now we have to wait the weekend until they're back up on Monday. So right now I'm just like living in a mess because everything has been like basically pushed to one side. I think I still need to move out a couple of more things, but looking at the space right now and sort of envisioning what I want to do when everything has to come back, it makes it a little bit easier since a lot of the things are moved out of the way, so I can see the space definitely feels a bit bigger when there's less in here. One of the major things that I think I will need, changing out the curtain rod so that it's not a full wall of curtains anymore, and I think eventually I'll swap out my dresser. Once I get those two pieces, I think the next thing I'm gonna tackle is the desk. In my mind right now, it's more about bringing everything back in and laying it out where I want it to go, and then eventually swapping those pieces out for things that I'm sourcing through like Facebook Marketplace, thrift stores, vintage stores, or if I find a brand that I really like and it fits within what I'm going for. I want to eventually paint the room over because there's like a lot of scratches and dings and stuff. I don't know if I'll have enough time to do that before I bring everything back in, so that might be a thing where I just have to bring it back out. And then one other thing that I wanted to mention is that with this bookshelf that I have from IKEA, I'm thinking of actually staining it a dark espresso brown color. I think I do need a lot of things in this space to sort of like ground it. It would technically compete with other larger pieces in the space, but then it can stand out on its own. So I think that giving the space a couple different tones in wood should help. And I read somewhere that like you would basically choose the color tone of the wood, right? So like there's the warm tones, the neutral tones, and the cool tone, and then 3 or 4 different shades of that tone within, you know, that category. So right now, you know, a lot of the oak being a more warm tone wood, I would then choose, you know, something that's like in that mid-range and something that's a little bit in that darker range, where then I can balance it out and have multiple different like textures of that color in the space. I have hardwood flooring, so that's already one. There is the oak wood, that's the bed frame, which I'm not gonna be getting rid of, so that's 2. And then I feel like, you know, if I stain this a much darker color, that ends up being number 3. I think that can balance the space out a little bit more and not be something where like I'm choosing all of these different pieces of furniture just to like match each other. That's the plan right now, but before we do all of that, we have to wait until the window gets replaced. So hopefully weather's looking great when they come in on Monday and they can get that done out of the way, and then I can start moving things around. So the windows finally got replaced. They were supposed to come in yesterday, but we're working on the other side of the building, and they didn't make their way onto this side until like late this afternoon. But since I was at work, I didn't have a chance to film them. Basically, they took down the curtains, put up a plastic wrap, and then replaced the windows from the inside. It's still bare, so they have to come back in, install the trim, seal the windows, and then paint. It's gonna be a couple of days before they're like finally finished with the entire process. So right now we are still, you know, living with our stuff basically pushed up against a corner, most of it being like spilled into the living room, in the kitchen area. Just looking at this empty space and seeing all the possibilities is getting me really excited. It's gonna feel like I'm building a collection, which will then end up in my forever home, which hopefully will be bigger than this, because right now I'm just starting with my room. Eventually would like to spill that out into the whole space. It's definitely practice for sure, and if you have any tips, I would greatly appreciate it. I definitely aspire to be an art collector in the future and have been slowly working towards picking up pieces here and there to build out that future like permanent collection. I will keep you guys updated throughout this whole process. I will come back when the windows are finally finished. few updates, what's been happening with my room. Windows are now fully replaced. One of the other major things that I need to do in here is repaint, especially since a lot of the artwork that I had hung up left some holes in the walls, and then just living over time, there's been a couple scratches from furniture moving around and things like that, just like basic wear and tear. There's also these two lights that I had installed. Now we're framing the bed on each side. They're like these baton wands that also have like a sensor on it, so you can turn them on in a way that like it's motion detected. So if you walk past it, the light will turn on. The actual base of it is basically put up on the wall with adhesive. So I'm gonna have to like pull these off, and I know it's gonna do damage to the wall. I requested that, finally got a scheduled time with our property manager. He's gonna be stopping by to repaint the whole room. Then after that, I can finally move everything back to where I want it to be. So I'll end it here. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. I don't know what possessed me to film that vertically. I don't think I noticed that I filmed that whole clip with the camera turned that way until I was actually like watching back the footage. But then I was watching it back and not even realizing it, and then it hit me. So yeah, I am not gonna re-record that horizontally because I literally was just like talking. So I will still be inserting that clip for the update, but basically that's what's going on. I will catch you guys in the next one to go over more bedroom updates.